Ladies and gentlemen, with the arrival of the chief guest of the evening, our Honourable Prime Minister, we are now going to begin the inaugural ceremony.
The national anthem of the People's Republic of Bangladesh is going to be performed now by the artists of Bangladesh Shilpakala Academy in order to commence the ceremony.
We request all our guests to rise for the national anthem of Bangladesh. Thank you.
আমার সোনার বাংলা আমি তোমায় ভালোবাসি চিরদিন তোমার আকাশ চিরদিন তোমার আকাশ তোমার বাতাস আমার প্রাণে তোমার আমার প্রাণে বাজায় বাঁশি সোনার বাংলা আমি তোমায় ভালোবাসি তোমা ফাগুনে তোর আমের বনে গানে পাগল করে মনে হায় হায় রে ওমা ফাগুনে তোর আমের বনে গানে পাগল করে ওমা ঘ্রাণে তোর ভরা খেতে কি দেখেছি আমি কি দেখেছি মধুর হাসি সোনার বাংলা আমি তোমায় ভালোবাসি কি শোভা কি ছায়া কি স্নেহ কি মায়া গো কি আঁচল বিছায়েছ মাঠের মূলে নদীর কূলে কূলে মা তোর মুখের বাণী আমার কানে লাগে সুধার মতো মনে হায় হায় রে মা তোর মুখের বাণী আমার কানে লাগে সুধার মতো মা তোর বদন খানি মলিন হলে আমি নয়ন ও মা আমি নয়ন জলে ভাসি সোনার বাংলা আমি তোমায় ভালোবাসি
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. At this point of the ceremony, we will hear recitation from Holy Scriptures, the Holy Quran, the Holy Gita, the Holy Bible, and the Holy Tripitaka.
We now welcome on stage Qari Muhammad Hafizul Haq to recite from the Holy Quran.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম ওয়া রাহমাতুল্লাহি ওয়া বারাকাতুহু সূরা ফাতহ 1 2 3 নম্বর আয়াতের তেলাওয়াত আউযু বিল্লাহি মিনাশ শাইতানির রাজীম বিসমিল্লাহির রহমানির রহিম إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا ليغفر ليغفر لك الله ما تقدم من ذنبك وما تأخر ويتم نعمته عليك ويهديك صراطا مستقيما وينصرك الله نصرا عزيزا صدق الله العظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Thank you, Qari Muhammad Hafizul Haq, for your recitation. We now request Mr. Horidash Mojumdar to take the stage and recite from the Holy Gita.
শুভ সন্ধ্যা। ওম নমো ভগবতে বাসুদেবায়। ওম নমো ভগবতে বাসুদেবায়। শ্রীমদ্ ভগবদ গীতা ষষ্ঠ অধ্যায় ধ্যানযোগ। শ্রী ভগবান উবাচ অসংশয়ম মহাবাহ মনঃ দুর্নিগ্রহম চলম অভ্যাসেন তো কন্তেয় বৈরাগ্যেন চ গৃহ্যতে। ভগবান বলেছেন, হে অর্জুন, হে মহাবাহ, মন অত্যন্ত চঞ্চল, তাতে কোনো সন্দেহ নেই, কিন্তু অভ্যাস ও বৈরাগ্যের দ্বারা মনকে বশীভূত করা যায়। তাই হে অর্জুন, চঞ্চল মনকে বশীভূত করে তুমি জীবের কল্যাণে, সর্বোপরি মানুষের কল্যাণে আত্মনিয়োগ করো। এটাই ভগবানের উক্তি। ওম শান্তি, ওম শান্তি, ওম শান্তি। জয় শ্রীকৃষ্ণ।
Thank you, Mr. Horidash Mojumdar.
We now welcome you on stage Reverend Dr. Shukomol Bishash to recite from the Holy Bible.
প্রিয় সুধী, সকলকে সুসন্ধ্যা জানিয়ে আমি পবিত্র বাইবেল থেকে দ্বিতীয় বংশাবলী 7 অধ্যায় 14 পদ পাঠ করছি। আমার প্রজারা, যাদের উপরে আমার নাম কীর্তিত হইয়াছে, তাহারা যদি নম্র হইয়া প্রার্থনা করে ও আমার মুখের অন্বেষণ করে এবং তাহাদের কুপথ হইতে ফিরে, তবে আমি স্বর্গ হইতে তাহা শুনিব, তাহাদের পাপ ক্ষমা করিব ও তাহাদের দেশ আরোগ্য করিব। ঈশ্বর তার এই বাক্যে আমাদেরকে আশীর্বাদ করুন।
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Shukomol Bishash. Welcoming on stage Bhikkhu Shunando Priyo to recite from the Holy Tripitak.
সবাইকে মৈত্রীময় শুভেচ্ছা জানিয়ে পবিত্র ত্রিপিটক থেকে পাঠ আরম্ভ করছি। নমো তাস্স ভগবতো অরহতো সম্মা সম্বুদ্ধস্স। সেই ভগবান অরহত সম্যক সম্বুদ্ধকে বন্দনা। বুদ্ধাং শরণং গচ্ছামি, ধম্মাং শরণং গচ্ছামি, সংঘাং শরণং গচ্ছামি। অভিবাদনশীলেস্য নিচ্ছাঙ্গুড্ডপচায়িনো সত্তারো ধম্মবর্ধন্তি আয়ুবর্ণাং সুখাং বলাং। জ্ঞানে ও বয়সে প্রবীণ ব্যক্তিকে নিয়ত যিনি শ্রদ্ধা ও সম্মান করেন, তার আয়ু, ভণ্ড, সুখ, বল, প্রজ্ঞা বৃদ্ধিপ্রাপ্ত হয়। সব্বে সত্তা সুখিতা হন্তু, জগতের সকল প্রাণী সুখী হোক।
Thank you for your recitation, Bhikkhu Shunando Priyo.
Ladies and gentlemen, Today, Bangladesh as a nation stands proud as a thriving and progressive democracy due to the leadership, perseverance, and ideals of one great leader.
A leader who paved the way for us to be so by dedicating his life to build a nation where everyone is treated equally, where everyone can take pride in their mother tongue, where everyone's voice is heard, and of course, where everyone has the right to choose their own representatives to govern them.
That man is none other than the greatest Bangladeshi to have ever lived, the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, a true architect of democracy.
On this auspicious occasion, while hosting the largest forum of delegates of democracy globally, we remember the great leader, the father of the nation, through an audiovisual which will be shown on the LED screens, presenting Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the architect of democracy.
History, however, testifies that a determined people can successfully resist and overcome such forces of oppression. No people have secured freedom and justice unless they have been prepared to die for it.
আমি প্রধানমন্ত্রিত্ব চাই না, আমরা দেশের মানুষের অধিকার চাই।
When the people of Bangladesh were subjected to unspeakable oppression and brutal torture by the Pakistan army, incisive protest ensued through a thunderous voice.
এবারে সংগ্রাম আমাদের মুক্তির সংগ্রাম, এবারে সংগ্রাম স্বাধীনতার সংগ্রাম। জয় বাংলা।
He had a dream for the people of this nation, a dream that the people of this nation would live anew and establish their identity on the face of this world. A dream that one day there will be a smile on the face of each and every Bengali. He fought to establish democracy in this country. He wanted the people of this country to get back their deserved rights. He wanted to show the world the magnanimity of Bengalis.
তারা চেয়েছে বিশ্বের সকল জাতির সঙ্গে শান্তি ও সৌহার্দ্যের মধ্যে বসবাস করতে।
We don't believe in revenge. We believe it is the philosophy of Bengali life. Love, love and love. I can tell you one thing. Nobody should play with the fire. Nobody should try to suppress the 70 million people. When they are determined to achieve something, nobody can suppress them. Today, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, they must win. Victory is ours.
শোনো একটি মুজিবরের থেকে লক্ষ মুজিবরের কণ্ঠস্বরের ধ্বনি, প্রতিধ্বনি আকাশে বাতাসে ওঠে রনি। বাংলাদেশ আমার বাংলাদেশ, বাংলাদেশ আমার বাংলাদেশ। শোনো একটি মুজিবরের থেকে লক্ষ মুজিবরের কণ্ঠস্বরের ধ্বনি, প্রতিধ্বনি আকাশে বাতাসে ওঠে রনি। বাংলাদেশ আমার বাংলাদেশ, বাংলাদেশ আমার
Bengalis, inspired by his vision, are progressing in this world at an overwhelmingly dauntless pace, going forth on the road paved with democracy, carrying indomitable strength. Welcome, everyone, to the land of dreams of our Father of the Nation. Welcome to progressive democracy.
We believe that the persona of our great leader, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, made him a hero of the people, and the magnitude of impact he had in building our democratic nation is unparalleled.
We now request Honorable Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, Honorable Speaker of the Bangladesh Parliament and Chairperson of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry, MP, Honorable IPU President, Mr. Saber Hussain Chaudhry, MP, Honorable IPU Secretary General, Mr. Martin Chungong, Honorable Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Mirsolav Jenka, and Honorable Senior Secretary of Bangladesh Parliament Secretariat, Dr. Muhammad Abdur Rab Hauladar, to take their places on stage. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Speaker of the Bangladesh Parliament and Chairperson of the CPA, Honorable President of the IPU, Honorable Secretary General of the IPU, Honorable Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, and Honorable Senior Secretary of Bangladesh Parliament Secretariat.
Honored guests, to ensure the rights to information for the specially abled, the speeches of our ceremony will be translated into International Sign Language. The sign language interpretation will be done by the sign language newscasters of Bangladesh Television, Mr. Manwar Hussain and Ms. Shirin Akhtar Rupa.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now request the Honorable Speaker of the Bangladesh Parliament and Chairperson of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry, MP, to share her welcoming remarks.
Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, Honorable Prime Minister of the Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Honorable Chief Justice of Bangladesh, Honorable President of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, Mr. Saber Hussain Chaudhry, MP, Secretary General of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, Mr. Martin Chungong, Assistant Under Secretary General of the UN, Honorable Speakers, Deputy Speakers, Members of Parliaments of IPU Member Parliaments, Honorable Ministers, Advisors, distinguished delegates, respected guests, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, Shubho Shundha, good evening to you all. I am deeply honored to welcome you all to the 136th Interparliamentary Union Assembly in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Bangladesh Parliament, the heart of our democracy, takes great pride and joy in hosting this event of global parliamentarians. I thank the IPU for giving us the opportunity to organize this assembly in Bangladesh. A member of the IPU since 1972, Bangladesh Parliament has been an active partner in promoting democratic values. It is my distinct pleasure as the Speaker of Bangladesh Jatiyo সংসদ to extend a very warm welcome to you. This is a special evening for all of us Parliamentarians from all around the globe have assembled at the South Plaza of our Parliament to express solidarity in building a prosperous today and shaping a better tomorrow. I express my heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, for her valuable guidance and support. It is also a unique honor and matter of pride for us that the President of Interparliamentary Union, Sabir Hussain Chaudhry, is a member of Bangladesh Parliament. I congratulate the IPU President for his success and achievements. I thank my colleagues, honorable members of Bangladesh Parliament, officials, staff of Parliament Secretariat for their cooperation. I also thank IPU for their cooperation and all concerned ministries and the law enforcing agencies in Bangladesh for their support in organizing this assembly. I congratulate the people of Bangladesh for their support. Distinguished participants, Bangladesh, a riverine country of 6 seasons, is laden in history and culture, folklore and melody of music. With the mangrove forests of Sundarban and the Bay of Bengal in the south, the tea gardens, hill tracts, beauty of this land is majestic. The Royal Bengal tigers are a symbol of the Golden Bengal, Amar Sonar Bangla, radiating hope, determination, and resilience. In the words of Tagore, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, Chitto jetha bhoy shunno, uchcho jetha shir. Dhaka, our capital, is a bustling metropolis, a microcosm of the country. Dhaka is a city of people and opportunities. People from Tetulia to Teknaf come together with a dream and an ambition to achieve a better future. Dhaka city invokes the heritage of our old town, legacy of rich literature, poetry, and art. The Dhaka University, hub of academia, is the source of vitality of the city and the focal point for some landmark democratic movements in our history led by our brave young students. The multitude of restaurants catering food of different varieties, food trucks and cafes around the corner are a mark of our entrepreneurial spirit and hospitality. We would love to entertain you with our delicious and delicacy of hilsa fish cooked with mustard and sweet yogurt followed as a dessert. Shoshe ilish or mishti doi. Dhaka is a vast entity unto itself that lives and breathes. I earnestly hope that you revel in the lively, vibrant energy of this diverse city during your stay here. Distinguished guests, Bangladesh was born as an independent sovereign country in 1971 through sacrifice of our freedom fighters, soaked in the blood of our martyrs, led by the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Language movement in 1952 led to a long struggle for independence in 1971. Within less than 50 years of independence, Bangladesh has now become a lower middle income country with a young and innovative population. We are the second largest producer of ready-made garments in the world and prominent contributors to a variety of other industries worldwide, including pharmaceuticals, shipbuilding. Bangladesh has made significant strides in eradication of poverty, gender parity in education, women empowerment, reduction of maternal and infant mortality, disaster management, strengthening the rural economy, attainment of Millennium Development Goals. Bangladesh has invested in access to power structures across the country, as well as information communication technology, the ICT sector, in building a digital Bangladesh. A consistent rise in GDP of 7%, remittance, reserve, all economic indicators, as well as social and human development indicators demonstrate that Bangladesh is marching ahead to become a middle-income country by 2021. Bangladesh has been recognized as leaders in many sectors of development. Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been awarded the Champion of the Earth Award for establishment of the Climate Change Trust Fund in Bangladesh with its own resources. She has also been awarded with Planet 50/50 Award for Women Empowerment and many more. Distinguished delegates, parliamentary democracy in Bangladesh nurtures the value of rule of law, fundamental freedoms, and human rights. Our Constitution is the solemn expression of the will of the people. Article 7, the pole star of our Constitution, states that all power in the Republic belong to the people. It upholds the pledge to build an equitable and inclusive society free from poverty and exploitation, where economic, social, and political justice will be ensured for all. As embedded in our Constitution, the dream of our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. The 10th Parliament, under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, is engaged in ensuring poverty eradication, health and education, gender parity, and achieving SDGs to bring about substantive changes in the lives of our people. Respected guests, the surge of globalization presents us with critical challenges. The changing pace of globalization is creating a new order of emerging economies, technology, and development. Issues relating to energy crisis, rapid evolution of technology, necessitating cyber security, climate change, peace and security, migration, etc., transcend national boundaries. Climate change and rise of the sea level and desertification are issues that will impact us all, whether through failing crops, mass movement of people, climate refugees, or rising conflict. Every society struggles with inequality. There still exists enormous gap between the global north and south. These differences should not be ignored. Diversity of background and opinion should be celebrated. Challenges cannot be encountered in isolation. Parliamentarians need to take account of the changing economic patterns, the deepening interdependence, and prospect of creating greater opportunities for human development, social inclusion. As parliamentarians, it is important for us to focus on our youth and engage them in the democratic process. At a time of growing instability, conflict, and uncertainty around the world, parliamentarians can work together as a source of hope. This is where the true value of organizations like Interparliamentary Union comes in. IPU provides an exceptional forum for parliamentarians and change makers around the world to come together and to facilitate conversations that allow us to take forward our shared vision and harness our resources to maximize well-being of the people across nations. Ladies and gentlemen, as the sun sets in the horizon, let a new dawn emerge, unlike any we have seen before. Let me conclude with an extract from Political Philosophy by Stephen B. Smith. Politics is a medium that takes place within language. It is a matter of providing people with linguistic and rhetorical abilities, both to construct their past and imagine their future. It is a language that gives us a latitude and ability to adapt to changing circumstances and create new ones. How we apply it to new circumstances and conditions will be entirely up to us. What will be the language of our politics is for us to decide. Let the language of our politics be to build an equitable, inclusive, and peaceful world. Distinguished participants, let me once again welcome you all to Bangladesh. Thank you. May Bangladesh live forever.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker of the Bangladesh Parliament and Chairperson of CPA, Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry, MP, for your speech.
Distinguished guests, we would now like to draw your attention to a very special message from the Honorable Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres. And to convey his message, we request the Honorable Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Miroslav Yenka, to take the stage.
Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Excellency Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry, Speaker of Parliament, Excellency Saber Chaudhry, President of the Interparliamentary Union, Excellency Martin Chungong, Secretary General of the Interparliamentary Union, distinguished delegates, guests. Before I deliver the message by the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, I would like to express my gratitude to Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, the Prime Minister, and her government for very warm welcome and excellent organization of the event. Now, the message starts, I quote, "It is my pleasure to greet the Interparliamentary Union and all those from around the world who have come together for this timely and important gathering. I thank the people and the government of Bangladesh for hosting. I attach great importance to close ties between the United Nations and the Interparliamentary Union. After all, I was once one of you, a parliamentarian in Portugal, so I have seen firsthand the key role you play as representatives of the people, as standard bearers of democracy, as legislators who turn aspiration to action, and as individuals who serve as crucial links between the local and the global. That rewarding experience from an earlier part of my career in public service makes me especially enthusiastic about what we can accomplish together today across the world, across our agenda. In taking up my duties as Secretary General, I have called for a surge in diplomacy for peace and for a new emphasis on preventing conflicts and crises in the first place. We are working to improve living conditions everywhere through the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and pressing ahead with implementation of the Paris Agreement on climate change, not only to meet this grave threat, but to seize the great opportunities of a low-carbon, clean energy future. We are also pursuing a series of major reforms of the United Nations Peace and Security Architecture, development system, and management in order to better serve the world's people. One key to progress will be addressing global inequalities, and so I welcome your focus on this challenge as the theme of your assembly. Inequalities feed exclusion, hardship, and despair, thereby causing or perpetuating cycles of insecurity and violence. At this time of divisiveness and economic uncertainty, I look forward to your support for investments in solidarity and social cohesion. Together, let us create a more compassionate, inclusive, and peaceful world. End of quote. Thank you.
We thank the Honorable Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Miroslav Yenka, for sharing with us the message from the Honorable Secretary General of the United Nations.
Ladies and gentlemen, now requesting the Honorable President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Mr. Saber Hossain Chaudhry, MP, to say a few words.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, the Honorable Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Madam Speaker of the Bangladesh Parliament, Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry, the Honorable Chief Justice of Bangladesh, the Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, IPU Secretary General Mr. Martin Chungong, members of the IPU Executive Committee, honorable speakers, vice speakers, and heads of delegations, fellow members of parliament, distinguished delegates, guests, ladies and gentlemen, assalamu alaikum and a very good evening. As the curtain rises on the 136th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, it is a privilege for me to address and welcome you in my home city of Dhaka. In exercising this privilege, I am deeply humbled as a proud citizen of Bangladesh by the fact that in the 138-year-old history of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, this is the very first occasion when the IPU is having an assembly in Dhaka. And that too with very impressive attendance figures. About 1,400 delegates from 164 full-member, associate, and observer delegations to debate the most pressing and urgent issues on the radar of the global parliamentary community. Indeed, it is a momentous day for the people of Bangladesh and the country of Bangladesh. Starting from when I first approached Her Excellency the Prime Minister and Honorable Speaker of the Parliament about hosting an IPU assembly in Dhaka, to the proposal that was made by the Honorable Deputy Speaker of the Parliament of Bangladesh, Advocate Fazli Rabbi Mia, to the IPU Assembly, and to where we stand today. It has been an amazing journey. This is the single largest event in the history of Bangladesh, and hence it has not been without challenges. Security issues loom very large in the global agenda. And on top of that, we have logistics to contend with. Just a few weeks ago, we witnessed a brutal attack in London on the House of Commons. The fact that you have decided to come to Bangladesh, the fact that you have chosen hope over fear, the fact that you have underlined your belief that solidarity and unity is a powerful antidote to those who wish to divide and weaken us. I thank you and I salute you for your presence in Bangladesh today. Allow me also to convey our deep sense of gratitude and appreciation to Her Excellency Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for the gracious hospitality accorded by the people and government of Bangladesh. We are also grateful to Madam Speaker, Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry, the Deputy Speaker, the Chief Whip, all of the whips of the Parliament, all of the staff of the Parliamentary Secretariat, and also, of course, the honourable members of Parliament themselves. All of the ministers, all of the ministries have come together in a monumental team effort to put this event together in Dhaka, Bangladesh. And while I don't wish to single out anyone in particular, I would wish to record our special thanks and appreciation to the Honorable Minister of Finance, the Honorable Minister of Commerce, the Honorable Minister of Civil Aviation and Tourism for organizing the welcome at the airport, and of course, the Honorable Minister for Home, the various security forces, the police, and others in Bangladesh. It has indeed been a great experience. Bangladesh Parliament first joined the IPU in 1972, a year after it achieved independence under the visionary leadership of Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Termed at a bottomless basket by Dr. Henry Kissinger, Bangladesh continues to defy odds and confound its critics. You have heard about women's empowerment. You are aware of the great and enduring resilience of the people of Bangladesh to the impacts of climate change and disaster risk reduction. You have heard about the success story of our export of textiles to USA and to Europe. You have heard about what we have done at the grassroots local community level. Perhaps what is not well known, and I'm going to share that with you, because when we choose a venue for an assembly of the IPU, it is not merely to conduct the business of the assembly, it is also to understand about that country, about the people, about the culture, about the successes of the country, so that when we go back to our own countries, we can take back those as good practices. Let me just share very quickly a few of the data in this regard. Over the last 8 years, 50 million people have been lifted out of poverty in Bangladesh. The rate of extreme poverty has halved from 24% to 12%. People are now living longer, healthier, and more comfortable lives. 92% children have been brought under immunization program. Drastic reductions have been achieved in infant, under 5, and maternal mortality rates. Despite scarcity of land and a large population, which currently stands at 160 million, in one of the most densely populated countries in the world, Bangladesh has become a self-sufficient nation in food from being one which had chronic shortages of food supply. Energy security is another area which makes for impressive reading. It has one of the world's largest off-grid solar home system programs in the world, with more than 4 million such systems already installed and 70,000 more being added every month. Quality and free education is transforming the lives of people, as we know they do. The country has achieved 100% enrollment rate in primary education. There is now 50-50 gender parity in this area. It operates one of the biggest, one of the largest free textbook distribution system in the world. Already 2.3, not million, billion textbooks have been distributed all over Bangladesh. Girls' education has been prioritized by providing free public education up to graduate level and providing stipends and scholarships. If we look at technology, there are now 130 million mobile users in a country that has a population of 160. And this has jumped from just 20 million 10 years back. So in 10 years, the number of mobile users in Bangladesh has gone from 20 million to 130 million. If we look at the number of internet users, it has grown at an astonishing rate from 1.5 million to almost 65 million today, all within the span of 10 years. Bangladesh is also one of the developing world's leading examples when it comes to ensuring financial inclusion through mobile banking. And I know this is a subject that we are going to be discussing here in the Assembly, especially with regard to women. Currently, 30 million people use this innovation, and by 2020, the figure is expected to exceed 50 million. Goal 16 of the SDGs, with its focus on institutions, on good governance, on rule of law will help Bangladesh to consolidate and build on its remarkable progress and make it sustainable. The story of Bangladesh and its people is indeed a powerful and inspiring one, and that too in the face of adversity such as climate change impacts and increasing frequency and intensity of natural disasters. It is a powerful example of how people can benefit from compelling vision, all-embracing ownership of and deep commitment to that vision, fueled and driven by strong leadership. I hope during your stay here, you will try to understand the successes of Bangladesh better, gain a deeper and better insight so that you can take them back as good practices to your own country. Pluralism, diversity, inclusiveness are central values of the IPU. The Parliament of Bangladesh last month unanimously adopted a resolution declaring March 25 as Genocide Day. History testifies to the fact that at heart of genocide lies unchecked hatred, xenophobia, discrimination, and racism. Let us all learn from history and ensure that the world will never ever witness another genocide. Fellow parliamentarians, 2015 was a watershed year for global agreements at the UN. It started with the agreement on disaster risk reduction in Sendai. It then moved to New York for the Sustainable Development Goals Agreement. And then finally in Paris, we had the historic agreement on climate change. All of these agreements are processes where the IPU, as you know, along with the national parliaments, was closely involved. Now our focus is on implementation. It is our honor that here in Bangladesh, the IPU, along with the Parliament of Bangladesh, organized the first summit of speakers of South Asia. And the second meeting of that summit was hosted by the Honorable Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Sumita Mahajan, who is with us today in her own constituency in Indore, Madhya Pradesh. This is the only platform where speakers have come together to form a regional platform for the implementation of the SDGs. The IPU continues to engage with and encourage national parliaments to host regional events on the Sustainable Development Goals. And till date, we have already seen such initiatives in Panama, Romania, Hungary, Fiji, Uganda, and of course, the very successful event that was held in Abu Dhabi, the Summit of Women Speakers of Parliament, which was very ably led by the first women speaker of the Arab world, Dr. Amal Al-Kubaisi, and she is also here with us today. And from that summit emerged a watershed declaration, which I hope will be adopted by the entire global parliamentary community. The outputs may have been generated by a women's summit, but this is what women leadership is all about. It is something that will be for the good of humanity, and I hope during this assembly we are going to endorse it fully. Partnerships are, of course, a very important element of the Sustainable Development Goals. And when we talk about the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, and we have with us the Chief Justice of Bangladesh, it is premised on the concept of separation of powers. However, when it comes to the Sustainable Development Goals and their implementation, we are looking at a new dynamic where we also talk about complementarity of powers, where the three organs of government cooperate to deliver on the SDGs. And I think Bangladesh is also one such example. The IPU's cooperation and relationship with the UN continues to deepen and broaden. Our agreement and the cooperation has been raised to a strategic level. And last year, with the help of the Bangladesh mission in New York, along with about 100 co-sponsors, we unanimously adopted a resolution in the General Assembly on the interaction between the United Nations, national parliaments, and the IPU. Ladies and gentlemen, the world we live in is more connected than ever before, and the integration of a global economy has made the life better for billions of men, women, and children. It means more children have more to eat, and fewer mothers die during giving birth. The internet now makes it possible for the entirety of human knowledge, spanning civilizations, centuries, and generations to be delivered to a girl in the most remotest part of the country through a single handheld device. That is the power of the internet. An explosion of social media has given ordinary people more ways to express themselves and has raised people's expectations for those of us in power. It makes our job more challenging. Expectations rise faster than governments can deliver, and so we have disillusionment and undermining of the belief in the system. The existing path to globalization, of course, requires a course correction. We cannot continue to ignore inequality within and amongst nations, ignore the appeal of ethnic and sectarian identities, leave our institutions, local and international, under-resourced. Alternative, powerful visions of the world gain currency as extremism in the name of religion, aggressive nationalism, and crude populism strike a chord in our society amongst the forgotten people, reflecting dissatisfaction and frustration. This takes me to the theme that we have chosen for our general debate: redressing inequalities, delivering on dignity and well-being for all. Let me share with you just two sets of statistics to drive home this point. If we look at the total wealth of the world, there is enough wealth around to eliminate poverty. The problem is with the distribution of wealth. 1% of the population owns more wealth than the rest 99%. Just 8 people in the world, 8 people in the world own more wealth than 3.5 billion people. Leaving no one behind is a very aspirational slogan of the SDGs. How can we move forward when we have such inequalities within our societies and amongst nations? I look forward to a candid and free discussion and debate in true parliamentary spirit and style in our assembly, and hearing the views of Nobel Peace Prize laureate from India, Mr. Kailash Satyarthi, in this regard. Against such a backdrop, the ideals of democracy become even more relevant than they have ever been. This year will mark a watershed for the IPU as it celebrates 20 years of the Universal Declaration on Democracy, a visionary statement. IPU strongly believes, and I cannot emphasize this strongly enough, principles of democracy, human rights and dignity and good governance remain the basic foundation of progress and prosperity. Despite shortcomings, democracy in its various homegrown varieties have proved its worth over time. Parliamentary diplomacy will also take on a whole new dimension. Political dialogue for peaceful resolution of conflict, even those that seem intractable and hopeless, building trust between nations, as well as promoting people-to-people contact and connectivity are going to remain critically important. As a political organization, the IPU must take a stand when efforts to secure peace are negated, and we have strongly condemned building of new settlements by Israel in occupied territory. We advocate and reiterate our commitment to a two-state solution in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, peace in the Korean Peninsula, an end to conflict in Syria, a solution to the deepening crisis in Yemen, and of course, closer to the home of Bangladesh, an end to persecution of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. Venezuela is a country that has been in our radar. You have probably heard the very disturbing news on the media about apparently the judiciary seizing powers of the legislature. We are looking at that very closely, and of course, as a matter of principle, our solidarity lies with the legislature. Returning to matters closer to home, we are pleased to be welcoming 2 new members to the IPU family, the Central African Republic and Tuvalu, and this will increase the membership of IPU to 173 national parliaments. 173 national parliaments, over 46,000 MPs, and close to 7 billion people. You can be proud of your organization because this is the highest number of members we have ever had in the history of the IPU. We are also delighted to welcome observer delegations from Brunei, Marshall Islands, Vanuatu, and the Solomon Islands at this assembly. Hopefully, they will find it interesting enough also to be joining our family in the near future. As you know, we at the IPU are committed to universal membership, and as a global organization, we expect nothing less. Also at this assembly, we will be adopting resolutions on the outside interference in the internal affairs of states and the financial inclusion of women as a driver of development. Based on the range of emergency item proposals I've seen, I believe we will have a lively assembly with constructive debates and discussions. Let me also announce, and it is my great pleasure to do so, two particular groundbreaking initiatives that you will witness during the course of this assembly. This, I'm sure, is going to be an assembly of many firsts. We have already heard, and on the stage we have Her Excellency the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. We also have the Speaker of the Parliament of Bangladesh. We have the Leader of Opposition, Begum Roshan Eshad, who is also here. All three are women. And this is the first time that an assembly of the IPU is being held in a country with this configuration. And it is not empowerment at the top. In the case of Bangladesh, we see empowerment at the community level, at the local government level. And the fact that Bangladesh has advanced and we have this very unique constellation of gender in our decision-making process is no coincidence. So the two initiatives that we are going to be launching, one is a web-based television. It's called IPU TV. This is going to be launched in Dhaka, and Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will do us the honors by formally launching it. The second initiative relates to the environment. Bangladesh is at the receiving end when it comes to climate change impacts. We talk about sustainability, and we are a powerful voice when it comes to international discourses and discussions on a sustainable green planet. So the IPU has decided to walk the talk. This assembly in Bangladesh will hopefully be a green assembly, where the carbon footprint that is generated from all of you traveling from far distances, from even the activities that we do today, are going to be offset by initiatives that we take to the carbon. So not only in the history of the IPU, in the history of Bangladesh, we are about to witness of a green assembly. And I think we can be justly proud of that, where we try and bring a harmony between consumption and conservation. It is, of course, my hope that during the course of this assembly, you will be able to enjoy the best of Bangladeshi hospitality and culture. Our Honorable Commerce Minister has kindly organized a fair on account of the IPU Assembly under the direction of the Honorable Prime Minister, where you will be able to buy and spend the allowances that you have had in products of Bangladesh. And when you go back, those are products that you can also think of importing to your country. Let me finish by, with the permission of the Honorable Prime Minister, referring to a statement that she made to members of the Executive Committee when they called on her just before this event. She said, "Treat Bangladesh as your home. Come back again and again, and you will be most welcome." I don't think I can finish with a better note or on a better note. I wish you all excellent deliberations, a wonderful assembly, and a defining assembly in terms of substance and content. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu, Chirojeevi Hok Bangladesh.
Thank you, Honorable President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Mr. Saber Hossain Chaudhry, MP.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now request the Secretary General of the IPU, Mr. Martin Chungong, to say a few words.
Your Excellency, the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of Bangladesh, Shirin Shamin Chowdhury, Mr. President of the IPU, and dear friend Saber Chowdhury, Your Excellency, the Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations representing the Secretary General of the United Nations, and of course the Senior Secretary to the Parliament of Bangladesh. Since the protocol courtesies have already been observed, let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, as the speeches were being made tonight, Her Excellency, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, leaned over to me and said, "Are you going to speak tonight?" This was repeated by the Honorable Speaker of the Parliament. I explained to both of them that in IPU practice and protocol, we have just one voice. We speak only with one voice. And when the President of the IPU speaks, the Secretary General keeps quiet, and vice versa. In spite of my best protestations, the distinguished personalities just mentioned insisted that I say a few words. And I imagine that I accepted. Shirin just leaned over to me and said, "Are you nervous, Martin?" I said, "No, I enjoy it. I enjoy the surprise." And so it is with deep pleasure that I take the floor tonight. Normally, when we go to an assembly, to the inaugural ceremony of an assembly, the leadership of the IPU hastens to thank the hosts for their courtesy and gracious hospitality. And I think tonight, Saber Chowdhury has been a little bit embarrassed to blow his own trumpet and say, "Thank you, Bangladesh, for hosting the IPU." So I want to use that opportunity on behalf of the IPU to wholeheartedly say thank you to Bangladesh, thank you to the leadership for their warm hospitality. Honorable Prime Minister, we appreciate your leadership. And I remember those days last year, Shirin, when you and I, somewhere in the House of Commons was it the House of Commons or House of Lords in England, signed the agreement, we signed the agreement to host this very important meeting here in Bangladesh. And from what we have seen, I don't think it was a mistake that the IPU made by deciding to hold its conference here. Your Excellency, the disadvantage of speaking twice is that you end up repeating yourself. But in this particular instance, I would like to focus on a number of issues that will occupy center stage during this IPU assembly. And those have been touched upon by the President of the IPU. They are interrelated. First of all, we are going to be discussing women's empowerment, especially women's economic and financial empowerment. Bangladesh, it has been adequately mentioned, is blazing the trail when it comes to promoting gender equality. Leadership in Bangladesh is firmly in the hands of women. Last week, I said in New York that world political leadership was fairly in the hands of men, but in Bangladesh, I don't think that is the case. Thank you very much for setting this example, and I hope that during our stay here, we can get exposed to those successful experiences that have been tested here in Bangladesh to promote gender equality. The second thing that I want to mention is what Saber Chowdhury referred to as the overarching theme of this assembly, that of promoting equality, trying to fight inequality. And it is important that we do understand why it is necessary to combat inequality. Inequality deprives human beings of their dignity. Inequality does not lie solely in the social or economic realm. It also is political. And so we are looking forward to robust discussions during the next week on how the global parliamentary community can work together, can contribute to global efforts at fighting inequality. Because inequality is what is driving violent extremism today. Inequality is what is driving frustration in society today. And we think that parliaments have a crucial role to play as representatives of the people. Parliaments will only remain relevant if they can take decisions and actions that actually improve upon the welfare of the people. And it is Parliament, as the preeminent representative institution, that would allow for policies that address the broad cross-section of the issues and interests of population. So we are glad that this topic is very prominent on the agenda of the IPU. And if I may wear my hat as a bureaucrat, I would say that I am looking forward to actionable outcomes of the deliberations. We are looking forward to receiving practical proposals for how we can move forward in tackling the multifaceted nature of inequality in society. Let me conclude and not be too long, Your Excellency, by saying that when people ask, the media ask, what are the benefits of hosting an assembly? The benefits of hosting an assembly for the host country are not only to be seen through the prism of economics. I believe that at the end of the 1 week stay or 2 week stay of the delegates here, we will all go back home with part of Bangladesh in us, part of Bangladesh culture, part of Bangladesh experience and successes, and that is what really counts, because that would have a multiplier effect in the world today. So I just want to say thank you very much for this opportunity. We look forward to successful deliberations, and you can count on the IPU Secretary General and his colleagues to follow through with the recommendations of your proceedings. Thank you once more, Your Excellency.
Thank you, IPU Secretary General Mr. Martin Chungong, for your speech.
Distinguished guests, we now request the chief guest of this evening's ceremony, the Honourable Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, to grace the occasion with her kind words.
বিসমিল্লাহির রহমানির রহিম। অনুষ্ঠানের সভাপতি আইপিইউভুক্ত দেশসমূহের পার্লামেন্টের মাননীয় স্পিকারবৃন্দ, মাননীয় সংসদ সদস্যগণ, কূটনৈতিক সদস্যবৃন্দ, সম্মানিত ডেলিগেটস, আমন্ত্রিত অতিথিবৃন্দ, আসসালামু আলাইকুম। এ ভেরি গুড ইভিনিং টু ইউ অল। ইন্টার পার্লামেন্টারি ইউনিয়ন IPU এর 136তম অ্যাসেম্বলির উদ্বোধন অনুষ্ঠানে উপস্থিত থাকতে পেরে আমি নিজেকে সম্মানিত বোধ করছি। এই প্রথমবারের মতো 171টি সদস্য দেশের সংসদীয় সংগঠন IPU এর এ ধরনের বৃহৎ আন্তর্জাতিক সম্মেলন ঐতিহাসিক ঢাকা নগরীতে অনুষ্ঠিত হচ্ছে। বাংলাদেশের জন্য এটা সত্যি একটি তাৎপর্যপূর্ণ ঘটনা। আমি বাংলাদেশের জনগণ এবং নিজের পক্ষ থেকে, আমাদের পার্লামেন্টের পক্ষ থেকে সকলকে আমি যারা যারা অংশগ্রহণ করছেন সবাইকে আন্তরিক অভিনন্দন জানাচ্ছি, বাংলাদেশে আসার জন্য ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি। আমি আশা করি বাংলাদেশে আপনাদের অবস্থান আনন্দদায়ক হবে এবং ফলপ্রসূ হবে আমাদের এই সম্মেলন। IPUর সঙ্গে আমার সম্পর্ক অত্যন্ত গভীর, কারণ আমি প্রথম যখন সংসদ সদস্য নির্বাচিত হই 1986 সালে, তখন আন্তর্জাতিকভাবে যেখানে যেখানে IPU হতো বেশ কয়েকবারই আমি সেখানে অংশগ্রহণ করেছি। তবে IPU আমরা গুরুত্ব দিই এই কারণে যে আমরা সবসময় মনে করি গণতন্ত্র শুধু একটা ব্যবস্থা না, গণতন্ত্র জনগণের আর্থসামাজিক উন্নয়নের একটা পথ, আর সেই পথটাকে আরও শক্তিশালী করে IPU সম্মেলন। কাজে গণতন্ত্রকে এবং মানুষের জীবনকে উন্নত করার ক্ষেত্রে আমাদের বিরাট দায়িত্ব রয়েছে জনপ্রতিনিধি হিসেবে। বাংলাদেশের গণতন্ত্র অর্জনের পথ অত্যন্ত কঠিন ছিল, কখনো মসৃণ ছিল না। আমাদের মহান নেতা জাতির পিতা বঙ্গবন্ধু শেখ মুজিবুর রহমান মানুষের অধিকার আদায় এবং গণতন্ত্র প্রতিষ্ঠার জন্য সারাটা জীবন সংগ্রাম করেছেন। এর জন্য তাকে অনেক জেল জুলুম অত্যাচার সহ্য করতে হয়েছে। 1970 সালে তৎকালীন পাকিস্তানের সাধারণ নির্বাচনে জাতির পিতা বঙ্গবন্ধু শেখ মুজিবুর রহমান যখন সমগ্র বাংলাদেশে জনগণের ভোটে সংখ্যাগরিষ্ঠ আসন অর্জন করেন, তখন তাকে পাকিস্তানি সামরিক শাসকরা ক্ষমতায় যেতে দেয়নি, বরং আমাদের উপর একটা যুদ্ধ চাপিয়ে দেওয়া হয়েছিল। এবং 1971 সালের 25শে মার্চ অপারেশন সার্চলাইটের নামে শুরু হয় মানব ইতিহাসে সবথেকে জঘন্যতম গণহত্যা। বঙ্গবন্ধু 26শে মার্চ প্রথম প্রহরে স্বাধীনতার ঘোষণা দেন এবং তার ডাকে সাড়া দিয়ে সমগ্র বাংলাদেশের জনগণ অস্ত্র হাতে নিয়ে যুদ্ধ করে দেশকে স্বাধীন করে, শত্রুমুক্ত করে। 16ই ডিসেম্বর আমরা চূড়ান্ত বিজয় অর্জন করি। আমাদের দেশের 30 লক্ষ মানুষ জীবন দেয়, 2 লক্ষ মা বোন ইজ্জত দেয়। আমরা রক্ত দিয়ে আমাদের স্বাধীনতা অর্জন করি। জাতির পিতা যখন যুদ্ধবিধ্বস্ত দেশ পুনর্গঠনের কাজে আত্মনিয়োগ করেন, মাত্র 3.5 বছর হাতে সময় পান। দুর্ভাগ্য আমাদের যে 75-এর 15ই আগস্ট তাকে সপরিবারে হত্যা করা হয়। কেবল আমরা পরিবারের 2 জন, আমি আবার ছোট বোন বিদেশে ছিলাম বলে বেঁচে যাই। বিদেশে বসেই আমরা গণতন্ত্রের জন্য সংগ্রাম শুরু করি। আমি আমার বোন 69 সালে সামরিক শাসনের বিরুদ্ধে প্রথম সোচ্চার হই। 6 বছর নির্বাসিত জীবন কাটিয়ে 81 সালে বাংলাদেশে ফিরে আসি এবং গণতন্ত্র যাতে আবার পুনরুদ্ধার হয় তার জন্য সংগ্রাম শুরু করি। আমরা সবসময় চেষ্টা করেছি যে জনগণের গণতান্ত্রিক অধিকার কিভাবে সুরক্ষিত করা যেতে পারে এবং গণতান্ত্রিক ধারা যাতে বাংলাদেশে অব্যাহত হয়। তবে এ পথও খুব মসৃণ ছিল না। আমার নিজেকেও অনেকবারই কারাবরণ করতে হয়েছে অথবা মৃত্যুর মুখোমুখি হতে হয়েছে, এমনকি প্রকাশ্য দিবালোকে গ্রেনেড হামলার সম্মুখীন হতে হয়েছে। আমার সংগঠনের অনেক নেতাকর্মী জীবন দিয়েছে। অনেক সংগ্রামের পথ পাড়ি দিয়েই আমরা আজকে গণতান্ত্রিক ধারাবাহিকতা অব্যাহত রাখতে সক্ষম হয়েছি এবং আমরা চেষ্টা করে যাচ্ছি গণতান্ত্রিক ধারার মধ্য দিয়ে মানুষের মৌলিক অধিকারগুলি আমরা বাস্তবায়ন করব। বিশ্ব আজ এগিয়ে যাচ্ছে, দৃশ্যমান অগ্রগতি সাধিত হয়েছে বৈশ্বিক ক্ষুধার ক্ষেত্রেও। তবুও বিশ্বের প্রায় 800 মিলিয়ন মানুষ এখনও অপুষ্টিতে ভুগছে। উন্নয়নশীল দেশগুলোর এক বিরাট সংখ্যক শিশু পুষ্টির অভাবে সঠিকভাবে বেড়ে উঠতে পারছে না, অসুখ বিসুখের চিকিৎসার সুবিধা পাচ্ছে না বা বিদ্যালয়ে যেতে পারছে না। অথচ আমরা দেখি যে প্রাচুর্যে ভরা এ বিশ্ব মানবজাতি বেঁচে থাকা সব ধরনের রসদ বিদ্যমান। একটু সহানুভূতি, সহযোগিতা, পরস্পরের প্রতি মমতা ও ভ্রাতৃত্ববোধ বিশ্বকে এক নিমেষেই ক্ষুধামুক্ত করতে পারে। বিশ্ব নতুন এক উপদ্রবের মুখোমুখি হয়েছে, সেটা হচ্ছে সন্ত্রাস, জঙ্গিবাদ। নিরীহ মানুষের জীবন কেড়ে নিচ্ছে, মানুষের শান্তি বিনষ্ট করছে। জঙ্গিবাদ আজ কোনো নির্দিষ্ট দেশের সমস্যা না, এটা একটা বৈশ্বিক সমস্যায় পরিণত হয়েছে। আমাদের সকলকে ঐক্যবদ্ধভাবে এই সমস্যার মোকাবেলা করতে হবে। বৈশ্বিক জলবায়ুর বিরূপ প্রভাব বিভিন্ন ফোরামে আলোচনা হচ্ছে। আমি মনে করি যে এই জলবায়ু পরিবর্তনের ফলে যে প্রাকৃতিক দুর্যোগ দেখা দেয় বা যে প্রভাবটা, তাতে সবথেকে বাংলাদেশই ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত হতে যাচ্ছে। এর নেতিবাচক প্রভাব থেকে পরিত্রাণের জন্য আমরা বিভিন্ন সময় যে প্রতিশ্রুতি পেয়েছি, সেই প্রতিশ্রুতিটা যাতে বাস্তবায়ন হয়, বিভিন্ন ফোরামে বিভিন্ন দেশ অনেক প্রতিশ্রুতি দিয়েছেন, সেটা বাস্তবায়ন করা একান্তভাবে অপরিহার্য। সেগুলি দ্রুত যাতে বাস্তবায়ন হয়, আমি মনে করি সেক্ষেত্রে জনমত আমাদের গড়ে তুলতে হবে। সুধীবৃন্দ, বাংলাদেশে আমরা একটি দারিদ্র্য ক্ষুধামুক্ত, ন্যায়ভিত্তিক, অসাম্প্রদায়িক গণতান্ত্রিক সমাজ গড়ে তোলার জন্য নিরলসভাবে কাজ করে যাচ্ছি। আমাদের জাতীয় সংসদ, বিভিন্ন স্থানীয় সরকার সহ আমরা গণতান্ত্রিক প্রতিষ্ঠানগুলোকে শক্তিশালী করছি। আমাদের স্থানীয় সরকার সে ইউনিয়ন পর্যায় থেকে অর্থাৎ একেবারে সর্বনিম্ন স্তর থেকে উপজেলা, পৌরসভা, সিটি কর্পোরেশন, জেলা পরিষদ সর্বক্ষেত্রে জনগণের নির্বাচিত প্রতিনিধিরা এখন প্রতিনিধিত্ব করছেন। গণতান্ত্রিক শাসন ব্যবস্থার অতন্ত্র প্রহরী, স্বাধীন ও সপ্রতিভ গণমাধ্যম। বিগত কয়েক বছর বাংলাদেশের গণমাধ্যম একদিকে যেমন বিকশিত হয়েছে, তেমনি নিশ্চিত করা হচ্ছে অবাধ স্বাধীনতা। তথ্য অধিকার আইন আমরা প্রণয়ন করেছি এবং তথ্য কমিশন প্রতিষ্ঠা করে মানুষকে তথ্য পাবার অধিকার আমরা নিশ্চিত করে দিয়েছি। আমাদের নিরলস প্রচেষ্টার ফলে বাংলাদেশের আর্থসামাজিক উন্নয়নের ক্ষেত্রে ব্যাপক সাফল্য অর্জিত হয়েছে। আমরা দারিদ্র্যের হার 22.4% নামিয়ে এনেছি। মাথাপিছু আয় 1466 মার্কিন ডলারে আমরা উন্নীত করতে সক্ষম হয়েছি। মানুষের গড় আয়ু 71 বছর বৃদ্ধি পেয়েছে। বাংলাদেশ ইতিমধ্যে নিম্ন মধ্যম আয় দেশ হিসেবে স্বীকৃতি অর্জন করেছে, কিন্তু আমাদের লক্ষ্য আরও অনেক দূর যাওয়া। আমরা 2021 সালের মধ্যে বাংলাদেশকে মধ্যম আয় হিসেবে উন্নত করতে চাই, আর 2041 সালের মধ্যে দক্ষিণ এশিয়ায় বাংলাদেশকে আমরা উন্নত দেশ হিসাবে প্রতিষ্ঠা করবার জন্য কাজ করে যাচ্ছি। ইতিমধ্যে আমরা এমডিজি বাস্তবায়ন করেছি অত্যন্ত সাফল্যের সাথে, আর এমডিজি সাফল্যের ধারাবাহিকতায় আমরা এখন এসডিজি বাস্তবায়নের জন্য পদক্ষেপ নিয়েছি। আমাদের যে পঞ্চবার্ষিক পরিকল্পনা, এই সপ্তম পঞ্চবার্ষিক পরিকল্পনায় এসডিজির সুনির্দিষ্ট গোল যেগুলি আমাদের দেশের ক্ষেত্রে প্রযোজ্য সেগুলি অন্তর্ভুক্ত করে আমরা তা বাস্তবায়ন করে যাচ্ছি। আমাদের জাতীয় সংসদের মাননীয় স্পিকার ডক্টর শিরিন শারমিন চৌধুরী এমপি, সিপিএ নির্বাহী কমিটির চেয়ারপারসন এবং মাননীয় সংসদ সদস্য জনাব সাবের হোসেন চৌধুরী IPU এর প্রেসিডেন্ট হিসেবে দায়িত্ব পালন করছেন। সারা বিশ্বে পার্লামেন্টসমূহের মাননীয় সদস্যগণের কাছ থেকে পাওয়া এ স্বীকৃতি গণতান্ত্রিক মূল্যবোধের চর্চায় বাংলাদেশের নিবেদিত থাকার একটি মূল্যবান সনদ। সকলকে আমি আমার আন্তরিক ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি যে বাংলাদেশের একটি দেশ বাংলাদেশ আজকে আমরা এই দুটি পদে সারা বিশ্বের সংসদ সদস্য এবং মাননীয় স্পিকার সকলে আমাদেরকে পছন্দ করে নিয়েছেন বাংলাদেশকে, সেজন্য আপনাদের সবাইকে আন্তরিক ধন্যবাদ। আমরা আশা করি এই দুটো সংগঠনের যথাযথ কার্যক্রম সফলভাবে করতে পারবেন আমাদের যারা দায়িত্ব পেয়েছেন। সম্মানিত অংশগ্রহণকারীবৃন্দ, ইন্টার পার্লামেন্টারি ইউনিয়নের এই 136তম অ্যাসেম্বলিতে আপনারা বিভিন্ন বৈঠকে অংশগ্রহণ করবেন এবং বিভিন্ন বিষয়, সুনির্দিষ্ট বিষয় নিয়ে আলোচনা করবেন। আমি আশা করি আমাদের যেটা মূল লক্ষ্য, দারিদ্র্য বিমোচন, বিশ্ব শান্তি প্রতিষ্ঠা এবং সর্বোপরি মানবতার কল্যাণে আপনারা বাস্তবধর্মী সুপারিশমালা প্রণয়ন করবেন, নিজ নিজ দেশে সেগুলো বাস্তবায়নেরও উদ্যোগ গ্রহণ করবেন। আমরা বিশ্বাস করি যে আমরা এটা যদি করতে পারি এবং যার যার নিজ নিজ দেশের বিভিন্ন ধরনের সমস্যা সেগুলিও যাতে সঠিকভাবে মোকাবেলা করা যায় এবং মানুষের কল্যাণে কাজ করা যায়, তাহলে অবশ্যই আমি মনে করি সাফল্য আসবে এবং আপনাদের এই পরিশ্রম সার্থক হবে, মানুষের কল্যাণ নিশ্চিত হবে। কাজে মানুষের কল্যাণ করা, মানুষকে উন্নত জীবন দেওয়া, তাদের মৌলিক অধিকার নিশ্চিত করা, শান্তি এবং উন্নতি ও প্রগতির পথে মানব জাতিকে এগিয়ে নেওয়া, এটাই হচ্ছে আমাদের মূল লক্ষ্য। কাজে এই IPU সম্মেলন সফল হোক সেই কামনা করে আমি IPU এর 136তম অ্যাসেম্বলির শুভ উদ্বোধন ঘোষণা করছি। খোদা হাফেজ। জয় বাংলা, জয় বঙ্গবন্ধু, বাংলাদেশ চিরজীবী হোক। আপনাদের সকলকে আন্তরিক ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you for your speech, Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. We would now request Honorable Prime Minister to formally declare the 136th Inter-Parliamentary Union Assembly.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. We would now request you to formally open the Inter-Parliamentary Union Web TV.
Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can download the IPU Web TV app from the Google Play Store and the iOS App Store.
Distinguished guests, the Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh have taken the initiative to issue a special commemorative postal stamp in honor of the 136th Inter-Parliamentary Union Assembly.
We now request the Director General of the Posts and Telecommunication Division of the Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh to bring forth the commemorative postal stamps for its formal release. Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. We now request the Honourable Prime Minister, the Honourable Speaker of the Bangladesh Parliament and Chairperson of the CPA, the Honourable President of the IPU, the Honourable Secretary General of the IPU, the Honourable Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, and Honourable Senior Secretary of Bangladesh Parliament Secretariat to take their seats within the audience to enjoy the rest of the proceedings.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now want to give all of you distinguished guests a glimpse of our beautiful country, a country rich in beauty, culture, and heritage.
We present to you a specially choreographed theatrical performance directed by Mr. Shankar Shaujal, which captures the true essence of our beautiful Bangladesh, our golden Bengal, which is the pride and joy of every Bangladeshi. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting a glimpse of gold. Bangladesh, an unbroken mosaic of geographical variety.
Gaji re gaji re gaji 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 gaji.
The beloved home of an indefatigable spirit that gleefully faces and conquers the various undulations of fate. A spirit that is bound by a common cultural identity, regardless of challenges and differences. Diversity presents itself like a garden of harmony, where variety only adds to the beauty. It is a nation beyond global compare. Lives were proudly given, blood loudly spent to win recognition for Bangla as our mother tongue. The day was February the 21st, 1952. Later immortalized the world over as the International Mother Language Day. With those hard-earned words, we want to say, with love and honor, Bangladeshe Shagotum. Welcome to Bangladesh.
দিয়েছি, রক্ত আরো দেব, এদেশের মানুষকে মুক্ত করে ছাড়বো ইনশাআল্লাহ। এবারে সংগ্রাম আমাদের মুক্তির সংগ্রাম, এবারে সংগ্রাম স্বাধীনতার সংগ্রাম।
One man devoted every ounce of his being to the lawful emancipation of this nation. The king of our hearts, the apple of our eyes, the greatest Bengali, the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. He who sacrificed safety and self-interest for the sake of liberation for 70 million Bengalis. Bangabandhu's call to the fight for freedom on March 7th, 1971 has entered the pages of history as an ageless epic. His thunderous voice hailed the fire and brimstone that broke the nation's shackles of servitude.
আসমান হইল অন্ধেরে বন্ধু, আমি তোমার
25th March 1971. Dead of night. Unprovoked, the Pakistan army unleashed savagely on the citizens of Dhaka. A genocide the scale of which has few parallels in human history.
ও মুজিব রে,
But we were not to be daunted, much less stopped. The intensity of our resolve was only enhanced in the face of such barbarity. At the cost of 3 million lives, the honor of more than 200,000 mothers and sisters, liberation was achieved.
জয় বাংলা।
Joy Bangla, Bangladesh was born. We request you to soak in the pride of our call to freedom, fraternity, and peace. Now let us welcome you into the heart of our independent motherland, where culture and capacity for human ingenuity continues unabated, unabashed. Our evenings provide precious respite to our daily labor. Song and dance, odes and epics provide soothing accompaniment to blissful slumber.
আমারও বেটার উপরে চালায় তলোয়ার লৌহ নদী বহাইব দুনিয়ার উপরে ইলাহি এতে কো দুঃখ দিয়াছেন আমারে আয় ঘোড়াই চড়িয়া মর্দ হাঁটিয়া চলিল কিছু দূর যাইয়া মর্দ রওনা হইল লাখে লাখে সৈন্য মরে কাতারে কাতার সুমর করিয়া দেখে 3,500
And yet, while we sleep, some stay awake. The rivers come alive with industry. The waters are awash with an orchestra of light. The plaintive call for the steamer juxtaposes with joyous human endeavor. Yet more resist sleep's temptation for the company of musical theatre, where the stories of queen and kings, honor and sacrifice inspire us and foster our hopes, our dreams, our tears, and our joys, where the yellow glow of lanterns augur the orange hue of first light. The end of night. Dewdrops settle like teardrops on our land. The call to prayer speaks to night's passing. The nation rises united, in spite of ethnic and religious differences, to resume the glorious journey of nation building. The rhythm of a full water pot serves as a sweet counterpoint to this frenetic march. Bangladesh. Our lives are but a reflection of the natural cycles that adorn the land. We face up to all challenges and are fazed by none. It is as if Mother Nature herself has imbued us with her own resilience.
গেলেন, বঙ্গবন্ধু আইসা গেলেন, 7ই মার্চের ভাষণ দিলেন। দেখেন 25শে মার্চ রাত্রিকালে কত লক্ষ শহীদ হইলেন। কি চমৎকার দেখা গেলেন, বঙ্গবন্ধু আইসা গেলেন, 7ই মার্চের ভাষণ দিলেন। স্বাধীন দেশের প্রধানমন্ত্রী শেখ হাসিনা ভাষণ দিলেন, কি চমৎকার দেখা গেলেন।
আমি গান ধরবো। সোহাগ চাঁদ বদনি ধনী নাচো তো দেখি, সোহাগ চাঁদ বদনি ধনী নাচো তো দেখি, সোহাগ চাঁদ বদনি ধনী।
আরে স্বাধীন দেশে প্রধানমন্ত্রী শেখ হাসিনা ভাষণ দিলেন, কি চমৎকার দেখা গেলেন। গণহত্যা দিবস নামে সংসদে বিল পাস করিলেন, কি চমৎকার দেখা গেলেন, কি চমৎকার দেখা গেলেন, কি চমৎকার দেখা গেলেন, কি চমৎকার দেখা গেলেন।
And thus, life goes on, the days pass, the evenings dawn in the festival of love that is Bangladesh. Welcome, dear friends. Bangabandhu's vision for a golden Bangladesh is now being realized by his able successor. Our path is joyous, and our door is forever open for you. Welcome. take over.
Thank you, Mr. Shankar Shaujal and team, for portraying the true essence of our beautiful Bengal in such an exquisite way. Distinguished guests, we are nearing the end of our ceremony. However, before we end, we have a special act for you.
Bangladesh, as a democratic nation, is being ushered towards an era of progress, which has taken our beloved country to newer heights. Initiatives taken by our democratically elected government has paved the way for the people to be empowered in more ways than one.
Let us now take you through the journey of our progressive democracy, a journey which began from the heroic establishment of our free and independent country, which then, under the democratically elected government and parliament, has strived towards the current surge of unprecedented progression, defying adversities throughout. In order to portray this journey, we present to you a projection mapping, followed by water show, arranged specially for this auspicious occasion.
There's a pleasure in the pathless woods. There's a glory in the life we choose. There's hope in the words we say. There's love in the country we stay. We are Bangladesh, the land of natural mystic, economic freedom, and the fighting spirit. We are the people filled with wanderlust, possibilities, empathy. We are the country that in just 4 decades rose to one of the top 30 economies, transforming the father's dream into reality. In 1952, when a different language was imposed upon the people of Bangladesh, they revolted to announce Bangla as the state language, shedding blood, losing lives, but never giving up. A movement designed by the great minds of Bengal and carried out by the young hearts, Bangla was established as the national language. And today, 21st February, is the International Mother Language Day, the only country to fight for the language. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the father of the nation, presented 6 points demand named the Charter of Survival to the central government in 1966, but was denied and rather served with more injustice. Bangabandhu won the national election by a great difference in 1970, but the authority did not accept the fair result of the election, and martial law advanced. The sirens of war reverberated in the coming days. Seventh March, 1971. Bangabandhu stood in front of the people and made a clarion call to the nation to their path of freedom and independence.
সব কিছু আমি যদি হুকুম দেবার নাও পারি তোমরা বন্ধ করে দেবে তোমরা আমার ভাই তোমরা বাড়াকে থাকো কেউ তোমাদের কিছু বলবে না কিন্তু আর আমার বুকের পর গুলি চালাবার চেষ্টা করো না ভালো হবে না 7 কোটি মানুষকে দাবায় রাখতে পারবো না আমরা যখন মরতে শিখেছি তখন কেউ আমাদের দবাতে পারবে না। প্রত্যেক মহল্লায়, প্রত্যেক ইউনিয়নে, প্রত্যেক সাব ডিভিশনে আওয়ামী লীগের নেতৃত্বে সংগ্রাম পরিষদ গড়ে তোলো এবং তোমাদের যা কিছু আছে তাই নিয়ে প্রস্তুত থাকো। মনে রাখবা, রক্ত যখন দিয়েছি রক্ত আরো দেব, এদেশের মানুষকে মুক্ত করে ছাড়বো ইনশাআল্লাহ। এবারে সংগ্রাম আমাদের মুক্তির সংগ্রাম, এবারে সংগ্রাম স্বাধীনতার সংগ্রাম। জয় বাংলা।
But on the night of 25th March, the Pakistan Army ran Operation Searchlight, a heinous act of genocide, brutally murdering hundreds and thousands of innocent people overnight.
We are not going to quibble over the number, but whatever the number, we are prepared to take back genuine citizens of Pakistan. Presented to you in the United States. For the return of the refugees to their home, the Pakistan government was willing to meet with an appropriate representative of the so-called Bangladesh.
The inevitable war broke out. The valiant young hearts fought heart and soul and stood against all adversities, injustice, tyranny, and calamity. And after 9 months, on 16th of December 1971, Bangladesh was born. We were an infant nation that needed much assistance. The war had left Bangladesh shattered, and Bangabandhu was the only hope for restoration. He started building the country from the ashes, brick by brick. The members of IPU were beside us, as friends, as mentors, as our true companion. While the country was in its initial stages of restoration, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was assassinated in 1975 along with his family. It was the darkest of days, as if the sun would never shine again. After the death of Bangabandhu, Bangladesh went through an undemocratic cloud. Tyranny, dictatorships, and corruption exploded dangerously. But when Bangabandhu's daughter Sheikh Hasina was elected to be the leader of Bangladesh, democracy was restored. It was a time of progression and liberty. Since then, till date, Bangladesh has been developing in every manner. A country led by Sheikh Hasina that is more advanced in terms of gender equality and women empowerment, with the Prime Minister, the Speaker of the Parliament, and the head of opposition being women, and also women being the head of the government since the 90s. Bangladesh is considered to be the little mystery of Asia, the playground of 6 seasons, with Cox's Bazar, the longest sea beach, and Sundarbans, the largest mangrove forest, among the many other versatile geographical features. Bangladesh is a secular nation where festivals of all religion are nationally celebrated. Culturally, Bangladesh is unparalleled, with ancient structures such as Panam City, Kantuji Temple, Shat Gombuj Mosque, Mohasthan Gor, and 1,000 other heritage sites. Economically, the country is considered as one of the models of economic development, being the second largest ready-made garments exporter, second in jute, fourth in rice production, fourth in farmed fish, sixth in tropical fruits, seventh in potato, and 34th in literacy. It is a moment of pride for us with our leader winning the Champions of the Earth in Policy Leadership and Planet 50/50 Champion in Women Empowerment. And we are honored to be the president of IPU and CPA at the same time. We have majority of the population below 35 years. And with our leader, the valiant Sheikh Hasina, our young hearts may rise unbound in terms of prosperity, democracy, integrity, with a vision of becoming a developed nation by 2041. Building a glorious future with great and resourceful projects. Podda Multi-Purpose Bridge, third longest bridge in the world. Bangabandhu Satellite, the first satellite of Bangladesh. Karnofuli Tunnel Project, the first underwater river tunnel, and to link the transportation of the capital city, Dhaka Metro Rail Project. We have certainly learned a lot through our mutual exchange. We have found you beside us in dire times, and we are proud to host you all who represent democracy and progress globally. And we, Bangladesh, along with the other members of IPU, aspire to make a world that is democratic, that inspires free thinking, and that is nature-friendly. We pledge to give back power to humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our ceremony, and we hope that you'll all enjoy this evening's proceedings.
We now request you to proceed to our dinner arrangement zone, and while you dine, artists of Bangladesh Shilpakala Academy will make your dining experience that much more enriching with their performance.
We would like to draw your attention to a specific announcement. The Honorable Prime Minister has made a personal request that she be joined at the high table for dinner by all the speakers who are present today.
Thank you all for gracing the evening with your presence. On behalf of the people of this beautiful country, I, Dr. Nuzhat Chaudhry, and my colleague,
Mahmudur Rahman,
would like to welcome you again to Bangladesh, and we wish you a very pleasant stay and a successful